Yeah, she nasty. Well, guys, here's another one. Um, this is a good car, pretty base model. There's a couple things I've got to fix. The seat does not move. Of course, you can hear that in the dash. So I'll do this. So it's getting stuck on something. I don't know if just this side's moving. And this does work, but so I've got to try to get this seat out and see what's going on. But overall, this car is pretty smooth. Starts up, drives good. AC's not working. Got a bunch of miles on it, but it runs smooth. Yeah, we get it. The radio works fine. Overall, it's a pretty good car, like I said. Alright, well, I'll put it all the way down. I'm going to crack it, but another thing that I've got to work on is when I turn the ignition off, the radio stays on, even with the door open. Now, I think that has to do with the part that goes onto here, back here. But we'll play with it a little bit. We'll see if we can't get it figured out. And for now, let's get this seat figured out. Because even if this wasn't doing what it's supposed to do, after 10 minutes, it'll shut off to conserve the battery anyway. But I can always unhook the battery for now as well until I get it figured out. But I've got to get this seat fixed so that I have more room when I'm driving. So let's see if we can't figure it out. All right, well, so you got a bolt there, and then you have a nut. Well, on the other side of the seat, I got to lay in here so I could start looking at all these electrical motors and stuff. But and then you got the plug there. So in the front, it just slides into them two channels, and you just pull it out. So not only do I get a chance to clean all this up, make me some of my money back, I guess, but I'm gonna plug this in and kind of diagnose it or look at it while it's sitting here out, and I can look at everything. So we'll see if we can't figure out what's going on. All right, after messing with it a little bit, these little bars, they're really just springs inside there that when you move it, it spins. And it doesn't take much to get them off track. As you could see, I just had this working. So you can see that one's spinning, but it's obviously not working. So this one I had to unhook because he's binding up. You can see now this one's working like it should. But if I put this one down here, it binds up in here. So there's something binding this part up. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But, oh well, this is really all I need. Like I said, this is going to be a cheap car, so up and down's good enough. Don't need, doesn't need tilt back and front. So, now all I got to do is find out why this side is not spinning. Now you can see it's moving. So I'm going to look on that side of the motor. This little thing here, I think it's going to have the same spring part as the other part. So we'll see what's causing it to bind up, and if I figure it out. Well, after messing with it a whole bunch, I have determined that this part right here is no good. on either side, and turn it on either side, and it stops. And it won't move this. You could see it kind of move the. She's just kind of there moving the little thing here. So something inside there is messed up. It doesn't look like it would be fun to take all this apart and get it back together. I think I'm going to try to find a different seat. They made a bunch of these, so I should be able to find parts car. All right, guys, out here about 45 minutes from the house to find new seats for the Impala, because that one's not going to work. So we'll also grab some other stuff while we're out here, like this center dash piece that's not broke, radio knob, stuff like that. But yeah, this what we're going to do is get this donor. That car really got hit, but we'll get the parts we need. Well, back here, so we got to get this old interior out, which this one has that in consoles. We're going to switch it over. Hopefully I can figure out something where the gear shifter was, but hopefully this one's easier to take out, which it looks like it is. And I already looked under here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. That this one doesn't bolt down. The other one like folds up and has a little thing that bolts down there. But the bolt holes are there, so we're going to take the seats out of that. It was out of a 2013 model. We're going to put them in this 2006 model, and this one does not have airbags in the seats, so it don't have the hookup, and it doesn't have heated seats. So I did take the radio and the AC controls. They do have the heated seat buttons, so we'll see if maybe it's just already wired up, or I've got to change some stuff. Plus that seat's not electric. The passenger seat in the other car it was, because it was LT since it's leather. So we're going to figure all that out. Maybe it'll just plug and play. I mean, it looks the same to me. Same amount of wires and stuff when I was looking, but we'll find out. All right, few questions. Will this 2006 cloth LS police package Impala let me bolt in a 2013 LT package Impala seats in it? It looks like all the bolts and everything line up. Back here, it looks like the wiring, even though this wasn't a power seat, is still there for it, power seat and the heated seats, which it did not have power on that side, and it did not have heated on either side. But I think the only problem we're really going to have is for the center console. But I don't know. First thing we're going to do is get this nastiness cleaned up. Well, first thing I might do actually is grab that passenger seat and see if the actual power works. That would be pretty cool. If it does work, we'll get all this cleaned up, get the seats moved over. They are gray, and these are kind of a tan, but I think it's worth it since it's leather. It's going to look fine, hopefully. Still going to be a cheap car at the end of the day. But, yeah, let's get these old stinky cigarette burned seats gone. Hopefully these will bolt right in. It looks like it will, like I said, besides the center console. I think that's going to be my only problem. We'll get it cleaned up and see what it does. All right, well, if you guys that has a 2006 to 2013 Impala, or maybe 14, want a good upgrade, everything is already wired up for electric seats. And I bet you the heated seats are already wired too. So this is actually going to be much easier than I thought. I thought I was going to wire all this up, but it's already wired in. The bolt holes match up. So let me get this cleaned up and get them set in here. You can see the color difference. I think it'll be okay. I think this is going to look real good and work good. So it looks like even the center console, I've got to take that old stuff out up there, but if that looks like this, it's going to match up just fine.
So the only thing I have to worry about is, and I do have a little cover for this, but still the gear selector's not going to be here. So this, the only thing I have to worry about is the little space where the gear selector was. Besides that, I got a nice center console. Better than that multi-color one over there that doesn't even close. So, yeah, I guess, let me make sure the plug for this is the same as that. And like I said, then I'll get everything bolted up. Well, there's something I've got to wire. So it is a red and white striped wire and a black wire, and it has that connector on it. And this is a red and black white striped wire, and it has that connector on it. The difference is this one runs 3 different plugs. So these connectors are the same. So what I'm going to do is cut this harness and cut this harness, and then put on 2 different Deutsch connectors, so it's still a connector that will work, and then it will clip and unclip like everything, and then it will work. So that's out of all this, that's a lot less than expected. Like I was saying before, if you wanted a quick, easy upgrade, find you a parts car that has, you know, heated, fully leather loaded seats, and switch them over from your base seats in these Impalas. This is that's really awesome. You could do that, and they already are wired and everything. So now I will have to switch this out, which I did get the parts, so that the heated seat buttons are already in there. That's nothing. That's easy. I got to replace this radio anyway because the knob's broke, so I went ahead and got all that. So yeah, we're gonna knock that out. All right, also from our parts car, we got all this replacement stuff. It's all broke, as you can see. I went ahead and grabbed the speedometer out of the parts car too, because this one says it's refurbished every time you start it. So we're gonna switch it out, or hopefully it'll switch. You pop this little panel off right here. I would say get some kind of interior part puller and just pop it out. There's a nut right here. It's this size. I think that's a 7. Yeah, it's 7. And then you got one here, one here. You'll have one on that side after you pop that little panel off, and then all this pulls out together. We're also going to take this radio out, which kind of the same thing. You just kind of pop it out. You gotta unhook this in the back. Then you get your screws out here, and hopefully it's all plug and play. So let's see. All right, I've got everything sitting in there for now. I didn't put the dash back together, but it's just sitting in here kind of mocked up. And I think, even though it doesn't really match great, I think the leather with storage compartments and a center console in the rear is much nicer than the seats here with cigarette burns all in them, and they stink too. So I think that's going to work much nicer. Like I said, the colors aren't really, don't match great, but I think overall it's going to be nice. They're going to be full electric. There's not a place to hook the airbags up. We know 6 they didn't have that, but oh well. Yeah, it's going to be nice. All right, is it perfect? No. Did most of it come up? I think so, and it'll look a little better even when it continues drying. I can get that passenger side again over there, but and the seats are gonna cover most of this stuff right here, but Mo, it was nasty. All right, well, after mocking it up, this is the old seat belt bracket to these seats anyway. And that's one thing we have to move over from that seat, is so the seat belt connects. Get this bracket right here that comes up out of here to attach the seat belt to. So that bracket right there, because these seats did not have airbags in them, these did, so we don't need this right here. So that bracket just slips over this thing, and that makes it where you can do there. Now I may have to put some kind of spacer right here or something, because the nut's obviously going to stop right here. But so far so good. Well, it's done. Carpet looks much better, seats look good, center console looks good. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do right there. Got the little cubby hole now and the connectors, but that just goes straight down, so I've got to figure out what to do there. I still got to put the radio and stuff back in, and I'm still messing with it. The heated seats do not work. Yeah, they don't do anything, so I might switch it back over to the other controls. But like I said, it is looking good. Everything works as it should. So it's a good upgrade if somebody's wanting to do it. Now these seat belts are the same. I did switch these out so that when you open these for storage, they don't fall down in it. So now this car does have storage. Oop, another part I need to clean again. This car does have storage under the rear seats. That's pretty cool, and it does have leather. And this console, much nicer than the old console. So